What is up here, YouTube? Jigsaw0097 here today. I'm drinking my aloe drink. Just woke up like a couple hours ago. It's pretty good. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. I promised that I would make it. I am here to review Justice League, guys. I finally saw it on Blu-ray. I never saw this in the theater. It was my first time watching it just a couple days ago, and I kind of want to make a review on it. I actually made a Batman v Superman review as well, pretty in-depth. It's like a 20-minute video. If you want to check that out, I will leave I'll leave a link so you can get over to that if you want to watch that. But this movie I just want to talk about now, so we'll get right into it. I actually really liked this movie, guys. I was pleasantly surprised how much I liked it, honestly. It did what I thought it couldn't do. It made these characters fun, because the DCEU has had a problem lately of making characters fun. It wasn't really until Wonder Woman that we started to see these characters come into their own a little more, because when they made Wonder Woman, you know, they did an origin story and they did it right. I don't even want to say come into their own a little. It's just, it feels like DC is finding its identity. When DC started, you know, they were just trying to compete with Marvel, and for a long time that plagued them. It felt like their movies were rushed. But now that Justice League is out, I kind of see the bigger picture. This movie kind of made me take a step back and be like, okay, I see what they're doing here now, and especially with the extended version of Batman v Superman, which I would highly recommend watching before you watch my video actually on it, because I do spoil the crap out of it. But the extended version fixes a lot of the problems in that movie, and Justice League finally, it finally kind of makes Superman and like these other characters feel like you would think they should feel. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm going to be talking about Justice League in depth as of now, so spoiler warning. I'll give you a second to leave. Okay, so spoiler warning out of the way. If you guys have seen Batman v Superman, you know Superman dies at the end. They actually revive him in this movie, and the way they did it I thought was pretty cool, because they basically dig up his body and they take him back to the ship that Lex Luthor made Doomsday out of in Batman vs Superman, and using the Flash's electricity, like his speed, they bring him back to life by pretty much like jolting him back to life through that like liquid goo, the stuff that Lex used to make Doomsday. When he put Zod in there, and he pretty much resurrected Zod as Doomsday, pretty much. But they resurrect Superman, and he kind of has no memory of who he is at first, and so he actually fights the Justice League, which is pretty cool. A lot of people were saying how the mustache, the bad CG, because like he was filming Mission Impossible, I believe, at the time of this movie, and he had to have a mustache for that movie, so they CG'd his mustache out. There's only like one or two scenes, guys, where I actually noticed that, and I was really looking for it, because I read into like all the drama of this movie before I'd watched it. I read how it was like a mess, how like Zack Snyder left, and then Joss Whedon came in to like fix it all and stuff. And there's things in this movie that are very Joss Whedon. Like, I don't think this movie would have even been even close to the way it is if Zack Snyder had kept going. But anyway, yeah, they revive Superman, and he kind of fights him, you know, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool the way that they did the fight, because really the whole thing of this is Batman feels really guilty about what he did to Superman in Batman v Superman, and so he's kind of trying to redeem himself in this movie. This movie's really a lot about Batman and his redemption, and how he's trying to build this team together, and it's really cool how they did that, actually, because if anyone would build a team like this, it would be Batman. You know, like he keeps like in-depth profiles on all the criminals in Gotham, so like why wouldn't he in this new role start keeping profiles on metahumans? And so it's kind of like him and Wonder Woman, because him and Wonder Woman at the end are the two left, and excuse me, sorry. him and Wonder Woman are the ones going out and looking for these heroes. But anyway, Superman does get revived, but kind of the way that the rest joined. Cyborg, he was also a pleasant surprise. I thought he was going to be cheesy as hell, guys. I'm just going to be honest. Like, when I saw the trailer and I saw his CG, I thought he was going to be just awful. And he's actually like one of my favorite characters in this movie because they did a really good job of humanizing this character. His dad kind of just like created him in a lab. I'm not really sure about Cyborg's backstory because I'm not like as big into him, but I'm sure there's a lot of DC people that can correct me if I'm wrong. From what I got is he died and his dad brought him back to life as this cyborg, and I'm not quite sure how he did it because this guy's like crazy. He'll like learn, he like adapts and he like learns. So the longer he exists, the more powerful he becomes. To the point where he starts being able to just like hack into anything. He can like drive the Batmobile. Like he's already like skilled in a lot of things without ever having to learn, and that's a really cool element to his character. And then we have the Flash, which I also really liked. I've always called the Flash the Peter Parker of sorry, screen went off. I've always called the Flash like Peter Parker of DC because he kind of is, guys. He's like the guy that's cracking jokes. He's the smart aleck, and I mean, he's kind of just that kind of character, and they nailed it. Ezra Miller, I think is what the actor's name is. He did a fantastic job as the Flash, and I can't wait to see the Flash's movie. The Flash has always been one of my more favorite DC heroes, and I think he deserves a movie. It's actually weird that they're waiting so long to make his movie because they're gonna make like Aquaman and then Shazam first, and I don't think we're gonna get a Flash movie till like 2020 or 2021, something around there. But yeah, so the Flash, they did great. And then Aquaman, this is a new take on Aquaman, guys. I never really cared about the character, so this is like a fresh start for me, but I think they did great. I really like the surfer dude, drunken sailor type attitude that he had in the movie. And I thought he did a fantastic job as well. Jason Momoa, if you guys have seen Game of Thrones, you already kind of know what he's about. It's more the same here. But yeah, but one of the things I liked too, guys, I want to touch on is the comedy in this movie actually was very well done. They did a way of like making the heroes like bounce off of each other really well. Like there's a scene where Aquaman is like talking all tough and before the end mission, and he starts saying how like he doesn't want to die young and he's afraid for Atlantis, all that, and you think like, whoa, he's opening up, and then you find out that Wonder Woman had like put her lasso of truth on him, and so he was like speaking his mind, and then she takes it off and he's like don't speak this to anyone. And so like, you know, things like that, guys. I thought that's funny. It's funny little superhero banter. They're kind of getting into that they got into the Guardians of the Galaxy level of humor with this movie, which I did not expect. I thought the jokes were going to be like cringy and just horrible, because the other DC movies were so serious. So and if you guys have seen Suicide Squad, I absolutely hate that movie because that movie's trying to be what this movie succeeded in doing. It's trying to be funny, and it's just like not funny at all. So I was just thinking like if they're going to do that again with this movie, it's not going to work out. But luckily that didn't happen because, you know, these characters, because you have Batman, you have Superman, you have Batman, these characters were established a little bit before this movie. I mean, we all love Wonder Woman now. She's back. She's kicking ass. She's the same awesome Wonder Woman that we've come to expect. And when Superman does get revived, it really is a great feeling, guys. Like, I loved seeing him get revived again. And then I'm really liking this Batman as well. So overall, I'm giving all the heroes, guys, like, they're a pass in this movie. Like, if you're worried about them ruining the DC universe or anything like that, don't worry about it because this movie does a great job. It's almost like this is the origin story to set up the DCU. Like we got the origin stories of the other heroes, but this is like they're doing it like backwards. Like Marvel introduced heroes first in their own movies, and then they did the Avengers. The DC universe is doing like all the team ups and all that stuff first, so that they can branch off and make the separate movies later. And that's kind of what I didn't understand about these movies at first. That's why I hated them for so long. But this movie especially, just like I now get it. I get what they're trying to do. And you will see happy-go-lucky Superman in this, guys. He's finally the Superman that we expect him to be. There's a part where they're trying to save civilians at the end, and the Flash goes to save some people in a truck, and Superman goes to save a building, and they're like running together, and he's like, I'll race you, you know, like things like that. And you see the Flash like save everyone, and then Superman like picks up the whole building to save it. Like just classic Superman imagery of him picking up an entire building and just like moving it to a safe location. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. You know, his colors are brighter. I think this is a lot of Joss Whedon's additions, because the colors on the suits are brighter. If you remember, like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, a lot more dreary, darker color filters over the final film. But this is a lot brighter. Like Superman's blue and red is really vibrant. You know, his S like really pops out. Wonder Woman's red, blue, and yellow look great as well. They're just popping out. The Flash is red, you know. Aquaman was actually a lot more green than I thought he would be. I thought this Aquaman was going to just be kind of like brown and black or something dreary like that, but they got all the colors down, you know. Like Cyborg looks great as well. The CG on Cyborg, I will say, is a little bad at times, but I think it's just kind of the nature of... Some of it just reminded me of like Terminator Genesis, which I actually can't stand that movie. I'm like a huge Terminator fan, but that movie was just such a slap in the face for more reasons than one. But the CG was a big one, and Cyborg tends to have that uncanny valley feeling where you don't quite believe that this is actually like a dude. But what they did is they got the actor and then they CG'd over him. They didn't just CG the whole actor, which I appreciate. So I will give them credit for that. It just didn't look as good as it... I don't know, maybe they can't make it look better, I'm not sure. Something that's weird about movies nowadays is I feel like CG is getting worse now than it was like back then, but that could be just because they used like practical effects more and like blended CG, I don't know. But yeah, all the characters great. The plot is Steppenwolf is the villain. He shows up, he actually shows up in... I forget the island that Wonder Woman is from. He shows up there and starts raising all kinds of hell. There's like this cube thing. Yeah, it's another cube. And he has to get it to assemble it so he can like change the world into... It looks like hell to me. I mean, there's actually a cool flashback scene where they show like a lot of different heroes. You see like Shazam in there. You see the Green Lantern Corps. I'm not familiar with all the DC heroes, guys. Sorry, I'm more of like a Marvel guy, but I'm pretty sure you guys would know who else is there. But I saw like a lot of characters, and it kind of hinted at like an epic battle when they do like a Justice League. After they have like all these heroes established, they'll do like a part 2 or a part 3, whatever they're at. But yeah, Steppenwolf, he's kind of a generic villain. You know, he's a Marvel villain, but I wouldn't say he's any worse than Loki. A lot of people are saying that he's like a terrible villain, but I don't think he's any worse than Loki from the first Avengers. Loki from the first Avengers literally just shows up and grabs the cube and opens a portal so aliens can come out. Like, that's his plot in that movie. We did have like Thor to set him up, but I've never thought Marvel movies had the greatest villains, so I don't understand the criticisms with these DC movies. People act like Marvel has these like fantastic villains. Honestly, guys, we're being real here. We haven't had a great villain in a movie since like Heath Ledger Joker. If you want to like talk about a great superhero villain, like Heath Ledger Joker is really the only one that comes to mind recently. You could say Magneto from the X-Men movies is alright. And then of course Avengers. I did finally see that. Thanos is pretty good, but really superhero movies, that they don't do a great job making the villains as a whole, so I don't really like that criticism with this movie. I thought he did fine. I mean, was he perfect? No, but he served the point of the movie. They had to team up to fight him, and they did, and they beat him, and that's the movie. Just like the Avengers. It's like the first Avengers, so people give that movie a pass, they don't give this one a pass. And I would say watch this movie again, but yeah, overall, guys, I'm going to give my rating now. I think the characters, like I said, are fantastic together. They get a complete pass because they all work together. It was all believable. I liked the team up. It surprised me. It was kind of like Solo. Like, I watched Solo recently, and I went in thinking that movie was gonna suck, and that movie surprised me. This was the same way. It surprised me. Like I thought I was gonna like really hate this movie, like I hated Suicide Squad, but it just worked. The villain, while not fantastic, he worked. He did exactly what he needs to do. You know, that he might set up Darkseid in the future, Darkseid, however you say that name, whatever. He was kind of a stopgap villain, but he succeeded in what he had to do. Superman coming back was fantastic. The way they rezzed him, pretty much him dying in Batman v Superman was so that Batman could have hope. So really, Superman dying was like a plot device for Batman. Bringing him back doesn't mean they can't kill him again, guys. If they're gonna do like that Death of Superman story later. But the way they brought him back is great. I can't wait for a Man of Steel 2 sequel now. Let's see, what else? Editing, like I said, it's got Joss Whedon all over it. They're cracking jokes. The colors look great. The heroes look fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's a team-up movie. It's a fight movie. And if you like the DC universe, you're gonna love this movie. If you don't like DC, I would say give this a shot anyway. It might change your mind. But overall, guys, I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. The only reason I'm docking it is because I think Cyborg looked a little cheesy, and then also I think the movie should have actually been longer. That was one of my criticisms. Is I know that it's a team-up movie, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more backstory into these heroes, just because there's 3 of them, you know, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg we're seeing for the first time. So it would have been cool to see a little bit more from them. I'm thinking the movie maybe be like 2.5 hours instead of just 2 hours, because Batman v Superman with the extended version is like 3 hours, and that's what makes that movie so good, is because the extended version of that movie is because they now took the time to equally establish all the characters. But you know, like I said, we're gonna get the single solo movies for all these heroes eventually anyway, so that's not big of a deal. But that'll knock it down 2 points for me, guys. 8 out of 10. I would highly recommend watching this movie. So yeah, that's my review. Justice League, guys. Have you seen it? What did you think? Comment down below. Do you like it as much as I do? Did you hate it? What do you guys think? Do you guys just think it's okay? Whatever you guys think, comment down below. If you're new to the channel as well, please consider subscribing. I do all sorts of things on this channel. I do, you know, football videos, Eagles fan. I do this kind of stuff, movie reviews. I do like achievement guides, all sorts of things. I'm going to be reporting on E3 coming up in like a week. Can't wait for that. I'm actually probably going to do a video for each individual conference, like EA, Xbox, Nintendo, all that. So keep in tune for that. But if you're also a returning viewer, I want to thank you so much for watching this video, for supporting me. As always, guys, I want to thank you again, everyone that watches it, for watching. And this has been Jigsaw0097. Talk to you all later.